Good morning, River Landing. It's time for mat yoga. Just a reminder, we do get on the floor in this class so that if you have trouble getting up off the floor, maybe this class isn't for you and you should do the chair yoga class at 11. All right, so today for mat yoga, we are going to use our chair. Let me see if I can get this music to play. I know I say a lot that with mat yoga we shouldn't have to use the chair, but today we're actually going to use it as a tool. So I'd like you also to grab, if you have some blocks, you might want to use blocks instead of the chair, and also your towel or a blanket. Okay? So while you grab those, if you already have those close by, you can join me for just a moment of standing in quietness, listening to the music if you can hear it. Relaxing in that Tadasana pose with our feet parallel with each other, toes are forward, shoulders are tucked in the back pocket but not over exaggerated, so we're not pushing that chest out, we're comfortable. Palms are facing your thighs. So if your palms are facing backward, I want you to roll through that shoulder, getting them facing your thighs. Good, and breathe. Nice big deep breaths. Quieting your mind. Breathing, nice big deep breaths. Bringing your focus into this room. Good. Let's open up those eyes. Good. Take a big deep breath here. And I want you to turn and twist it. Good. Inhale, lift. And turn and twist. Good. Inhale, lift. And turn and twist. One more time. Inhale, lift. And turn and twist. Good. Inhale, lift. Let's open it up here. Cactus pose with the palms facing in. Good. Right here. Softness in those knees. Good. I'm sorry, I needed to adjust there just a little bit. Softness in your knees. Let's curl and bring those hands and elbows together, palms still facing in. And inhale and open. And exhale. Good, just opening and closing. Really working into that belly, exhale. Good, one more time, inhale. And exhale. All right, let's lift it up. Let's take those arms to the back, stretch them to the back. Good, holding those hands back there. I want you to turn your head a little bit side to side, waking up those muscles in the neck. Good, and then bring it to the center, and I want you to nod your head. We're still imprisoning those arms to the back, nodding the head. If you're saying yes. All right, hold that chin down there, hold it down. Relax and breathe. Good, and bring that head all the way up. Let's shrug those shoulders just that little bit, nice and slow. Good. All right, let's take a step wide right here. We're gonna bring those arms to the side, taking one arm up and over. Holding it here nice and soft in the knees. Good, and bringing it up and over. Good, now bring those arms together. We're going to rock it to the other side. And lift and rock to the other side. And then bring it right here to the center. Hands come to those hips, hinging right here at the hips. I want you to stick your bottom back. Hands can come to the thighs if you'd rather than the hips. You decide I'm going to come a little lower with my knee bend, pushing those hips back, really feeling that stretch. Good. All right. And then let's inhale and lift and come all the way up. Now, as a caution, we're going to do some forward fold work today. If you find that you're getting dizzy On the stand-up part of that, on the stand-up of any of the things that we do, options are hands on hips, big deep breath. Sit on the chair, hands on hips, big deep breath. That's an option too, right? We have that. Or don't take your head below your heart, and I'll show you those options with the chair. So we're going to do a little bit of forward fold. So if you've had glaucoma surgery, eye surgery, and I'm sure your doctor told you this, but just as a caution, I don't want you to bring your head forward where the pressure behind your eye becomes great. Okay, so just be very careful with that. All right, so we're going to use our chair today for this. So I'm going to take my blanket or my towel, and I'm just going to put it here for right now in the back of the chair, because I'm going to come back to that in a minute. Then we're going to not only work on forward folds, but we're going to do some shoulder stretching here and some stretching into the legs. So we're going to use the chair as a tool. So I'm going to bring it a little bit more center. Make sure that your chair is even and that it's not going to slide around, because I don't want you to grab the chair and all of a sudden go, oh my gosh, and there you go, right? Sliding off like a sled. All right, so we're going to start real simply. We're just going to start facing that chair. Take a big deep breath. Inhale. Exhale. Swan dive down. We're going to just be right here in that nice tabletop position. You know how I love the cat and cow, so let's do a little bit of that. Curling through the spine for the cow. And then, for cat, excuse me. And then inhale and lift for the cow pose. Lift those tailbones. Good. Inhale, curl. Exhale, sway. Good. Good. Last one right here. All right. Good. Now push back into your heels. Let's inhale and come all the way up. So we can use the chair, and I think I'm going to turn actually just a little bit so that I can see you. So I don't have to turn my head so much. So we're going to work on those forward folds. You know what I'm going to do? I wasn't thinking very well, was I? So I can stay on my mat so I'm not all catty corner. I'll get here. All right, here we go. So we're going to work on our forward folds here, and I'm going to show you some options with the chair, and then if you know that you can already forward fold down onto the floor, you can do that. Remember our caution about the eyes and about dizziness. So we're going to inhale, lift. We're going to exhale, swan dive down, and this time I want you to put your forearms on that chair. So this would be an elementary level forward fold right here. We're just going to fold and hold right here. Good. So this is our go-to position if we would like it to be. We don't ever have to come all the way down, right? Good. All right. Just holding here, feeling that nice stretch. So we're going to ease our way down. Let's push your weight into your back feet, or into back heels. Inhale, lift. Good. All right. And just give it a wiggle. Give it a bit of a wiggle. All right. Here we go. So now you know, elementary level, if that's where you are and you feel safe there, stay there. So inhale, lift. Exhale, swan dive down. This time, maybe you have your blocks, or maybe your hands can come down with your fingers or on the floor. Let your head hang. Unless you have that eye pressure thing, here's where we could be. If you have eye pressure, right, we could be using that chair. Good. All right, now, I want you to rock back into your heels, lift your toes just a little bit. Feel that stretch. Can you lift your hips ever so slightly? No matter where your hands are, blocks or chair, any of those places, lift those hips. Straighten that leg. Good. Breathe. All right, let's put those toes down. Bend your knees slightly. Back into the heels. Inhale, lift, and come up. Good, and then let's reach. Right here, reach. Good. All right, and now let's inhale, lift. Exhale, we're going to come down again, and this time maybe you can come further, maybe you can turn your blocks, maybe the palms of your hands can hit the floor. Good. And now this time I want you to think about lifting your hip on one side by lifting your heel and bring it down, lift your hip, then just a slight bend in the knee, lift the hip. So I'm just lifting the heel, lifting the hip.
feeling that stretch. We could be doing that all from right here, from that chair, right? We don't have to be all the way down. All right, last one. Good, now bend those knees. Rock your weight back, inhale, lift. Good, and bring it down. All right, take a breath here, kick those feet out. We're gonna do one more, and then we're gonna play with the chair a little bit more. We're gonna do some other things with that chair. All right, so standing up nice and tall, let's inhale, lift. Exhale, swan dive down to wherever you're comfortable in your forward fold. Good, if you can, I want you to grab underneath your toes this time. And we're gonna lift up in the hips, and I want you to push down with your toes, but pull up with your hands. And see how that deepens the stretch into those hamstring muscles. Good, and breathe. Nice big deep breath. Good. All right. One more breath here. Good, rock back in those heels, take those fingers from under those toes, bend those knees a little bit, come all the way up. And let it go. Good. Give it a wiggle. All right. So we're going to play with the chair just a little bit. So we're going to get a really good Achilles tendon stretch by playing with the chair. So I want you to bring one leg forward, and it can actually touch the chair just a little bit. I don't want you to touch it so much that if your chair were light, you would push it away. Okay? So we're going to hinge at the hip, grab the chair. We're going to take that other foot, and I want you to step it back as far as you can. Good. If you would like, we can come down even further with our forearms on the chair. You decide. Good. Now I really want you to push back into that heel, pushing that heel down towards the floor, getting that nice Achilles tendon stretch. So you choose where you want to be. Good. And we could extend it even more because we have that chair for support, right? Yeah. Good. Breathe. Keep that head and chest lifted for right now. Good. Try to bend the back knee just a little bit and see how that deepens the stretch in the back of the heel. So now all of a sudden when we bend that knee, the stretch became more about that Achilles tendon, right? So we're going to hold it here and breathe, just stretching through that body. Good. All right, now, if you came down on your forearms, come up. We're going to take that back foot, bring it forward, bringing that other foot back. It's a nice long extension. We have the chair to use here for support, right? So we can really lean on it right here, and it takes all the pressure off that shoulder while we really stretch into that Achilles tendon. And I might need to adjust my chair just a little bit. I guess this leg is longer. Good. Now my knee is on this chair too, so it's a touch point, right? So I feel pretty stable right here, so I can really stretch into that leg. I can use this as a tool and as a base so that I can really stretch into that leg. Good, now bend the knee just a little bit and feel that stretch get into that Achilles tendon area with a breath. Really breathe in here. Good. Holding, breathing, feeling that nice stretch. All right, let's take that back leg. Let's come up, take that back leg forward, and stand all the way up. Good, reach it up. Big stretch. Let's reach for the apples. So we're going to do this again, but we're going to come to the floor. So if you have bad knees, you might want to take that towel or blanket and have it close by. So if you needed to put it under a knee, you could. All right, let's take it down. So let's take that first foot back again. So we're going to go all the way back with that foot. This time, I'm going to take my towel. Good. All right. And I'm going to bring my knee down to the floor. Now, I might need to adjust my chair some for what I want to do here. Good, so you still have that chair. We're still working with that chair. Good, I'm going to put that knee over there. The other leg is up. Remember, we were touching it just a little bit. All right, so we're touching it just that little bit. Good, all right. So from here, I'm gonna bring that other knee back, and I'm gonna use my chair for my child's pose. So I'm gonna push back, but I'm gonna keep my arms on my chair and extend right here. Now, I'm not gonna probably go down as far as I would normally, but feel how that's stretching deep into that shoulder. Really stretching deep into the shoulder and that lower back. Good. Breathe, nice big deep breaths. All right, now let's bring that up. And I want you to, I'm gonna come forward just a little bit, so that I can put my elbows on the base of the chair. And maybe you're pulling the chair forward. If your chair moves easily, you're pulling it forward. So I'm gonna bring those hands together. My elbows are out a little wide. Good, and you adjust your knees as you need to. Good, so this time we're gonna pull back again, bringing your ears right between your arms. Good, palms are together. You can even put them in a prayer pose, praying to God, right, that we finish this fast, right? So take those hands and I want you to bring them back towards your shoulder blades. Now I'm not gonna actually touch it, right, because I can't. My anatomy, physiologically, I can't do that, right? But that's the goal, is we're gonna bring it back. Stretching through those shoulders, stretching through the tricep muscle, feeling that deep stretch. Good, now let's come all the way up. Hands on that chair to come up. I'm going to take my towel and bring it back a little bit because I want my knees back a little further for this next part of what we're going to do. So we're right here. I want you to take one foot forward. It's underneath your chair if you can. If you can't do it underneath the chair, you might want to turn your chair or turn your body, or just use your blocks. You don't have to use the chair, right? We can do this with blocks right next to our side. So we lift up through the chest and we bend forward. Big hamstring stretch right here. Keep a hinge at the hip. So I want you to be in line. Hips, shoulders, ears are in line. So I'm not curling through the body. See, if I curled here, oh, that does not feel good on my hip at all. So I'm going to stay up nice and tall. I'm pushing the hip down and slightly back. Good. Lifting that toe, getting that nice stretch. Remember, we don't have to use the chair. We could use a block or a book right next to the side. I'm just using the chair because it's the prop that I have for today, and maybe that's all you have for today. Good breathing, nice big deep breath. Good, one more breath here, holding it just that little bit longer to feel that good stretch. And then let's bring it up. Let's do that other side. So we bring that foot underneath the chair if you have a chair like mine, or you can just use your blocks, that's perfectly fine. You could turn the chair, all different things you could do. So we're gonna lean forward. If you have those blocks, you can come to the blocks. You can even come to the floor. However, I don't want you to curl through the spine. I want you to keep that nice hinge at the hip. Shoulders, hips, and ears are still in line. I'm pushing the hip down and slightly back, lifting that toe the best I can. So I'm really feeling that good stretch. Good, breathing that nice big breath. All right, and then let's come all the way up. Let's take that leg, we're gonna put it back. We're gonna do that child's pose yet again. Here's that child's pose. Stretching through that shoulder, keeping your ears in line, so don't let the head hang, bad for your cervical spine. You wanna protect that cervical spine. Breathe. All right, and then let's come up. So I want you to put your stronger leg forward. Stronger leg comes forward. We're going to lean over that chair. We're going to push ourselves out right here. Good. Come all the way up. Inhale, lift. Big breath. Good.
So this next pose we're gonna do on the chair is a little more difficult. It's a little more bound than what we would normally do. It is not advanced, it's an intermediate yoga, mat yoga thing that we don't normally do because it is a bound pose, but we're gonna try it here on the chair. So if what I'm telling you is scary, watch me first and see if you think it's something that you can do. So I'm gonna take my towel or blanket, I'm gonna move it again. I'm gonna make sure that this doesn't fall off, or my pants don't fall down. Here, just a second. We don't want that to happen. Okay, we don't want that to happen. All right, so first thing, I'm just gonna stand up and I'm gonna put my foot on my chair. Now, if you don't have a chair like mine, or if you don't have a wide enough area to do this, you could do this on the floor with your body on the floor, so you can decide. But for my purposes today, for my goals for my class today, I'm gonna use it on the chair. So I'm gonna take my standing leg, bring it back a little bit, and I'm gonna take this foot and I'm just gonna bring it over and I'm gonna lean into it. So this is a pigeon pose using the chair. Okay, so I'm gonna brace myself here, I'm gonna come forward, and I'm getting that nice stretch into that hip. This pose is not for everybody, right? Because I'm having to really hold my body, I'm having to bend that knee in the bottom, and I'm really deep into that stretch. So if this doesn't feel good, you could do this on the floor in a whole bunch of different ways, right? This is a more advanced pose, and it's not for everybody. Breathe. Feeling that nice stretch. Good. Let's take one more breath. Okay. Now I want you to sit up nice and tall. You're going to use the muscle in your leg. Push yourself up. Bring yourself up. Bring that foot down to the floor. Good. Now let's come back. So for some of us, if we have bad knees, please don't do this, right? It's going to hurt your knee a little bit. Stretch it back, because our knee is really super bent there. But this is our challenge pose for today. Stretch it back, feel that nice stretch. And then come up. All right, so let's do that other side. Now that you saw where we went, you might say, nope, I'm gonna do that on the floor in a different way, and that's perfectly fine. Okay, you pick, this is your class too. So we put that foot on the floor, on the chair, we scoot that leg back, we swiggle, swiggle, swiggle till we can take the foot to the side of the chair, bringing that knee to the chair. Good, and then we're gonna lean into it. Leaning into it so I can really feel that stretch into that hip. Great sciatic nerve piriformis stretch right here. For some of us, this is a no-go, right? We have to bend our knees in a way that might be painful. It just might be uncomfortable, you might feel unstable, so do what's best for you. Breathing, relaxing. Feeling that nice sciatic nerve stretch, getting you right here in the hip. All right, let's come up. Using the muscle in my back leg, I'm going to push up and then come up. Oop, there it went. And bring that leg down. And we're going to push back into that child's pose. Good. Or not child's pose, excuse me, down dog on the chair there. Down dog right here. And breathe. All right, so that's as hard as we're going to get for today. Just something a little different on a rainy day. So let's walk forward again, and I want you to go ahead and bring your knees to the floor, grabbing your mat or your towel. Good, and I want you to still have that chair right here. So we're going to sit down on our backside. For those of you that when you sit down you feel like you're tipping backward or you're in the bucket seat, I want you to go ahead and put that towel or blanket underneath you. And we're going to bring those legs out around the chair. Good, so sitting up nice and tall. This is a hamstring stretch here, okay? So you decide where your legs are, okay? So you decide how that's going to feel. You could bring them way in here at first if you're just not sure that this is going to be for you.
Good, and then I'm gonna take that chair and get it far enough away so that I can lean into it and feel those hamstrings stretch. So maybe I need to move my chair a little bit further, maybe not. Keeping the ears and shoulders in line here, stretching, breathing. Tipping that pelvis forward, don't let that pelvis go backwards. So you're really trying to lean into that chair, feeling that stretch into that hamstring. Can you come down a little bit, maybe even putting your hands on the floor? And then let's walk it up. Very good. All right. Now, let's bring ourselves up just a little bit here. I'm going to put one foot underneath the chair. Again, you don't have to do it this way. You could do it in another way, just on the floor. I'm going to sit up nice and tall. And I'm just doing this because I don't want to move the chair 10 times. I'm going to take that one leg over the top, and we're going to turn into that leg, stretching through that spine. Good, bringing it back to the center. Let's cross it over here, and we're gonna lean into that chair. Good. If you don't have a chair that you can do this with, you can put those hands on your blocks or the hands on the floor. Either way. Now the chair just gives me a little bit more support so that I can really lean into it and not keep all my muscles so tense, so I get a deeper stretch. Sometimes we want those muscles tense, right, because we're building strength. And in a pose like this, we really want the stretch. So using the chair is just a nice tool. And you could, if you don't have a chair with a hole underneath it, you could turn the chair to the side maybe. You could use your blocks and bring your hands to the blocks, lots of options. And breathing, holding. Try to get that little bit extra here. Let's walk it back. Uncross it, let's do the other side. So up and over we go. We sit up nice and tall. We turn into that stretch, maybe even a little turn in a twist, but nothing real big. Breathing. And then let's bring it back to the center. We're going to take that knee, put it down, leaning into that chair. Woo! Wow. Felt that hamstring, boy, it is tight. All right, and just holding right here, using that chair as your tool. You could come down to your blocks and rest on your blocks. I just want you in a pose where you are resting on something so that you can really feel that stretch. Still keeping the straightness in the spine, so hips, shoulders, and ears are in line, so I'm not curled to the spine. Right, I'm protecting those discs. Good. Feeling that good stretch there. And then let's come all the way up. Okay, I'm going to turn, I want you to keep your chair where you can put your legs on it, okay? So if you still have your chair there, and you can move your towel or blanket away. So, I'm going to move this up a little bit so it doesn't fall. There we go. All right, so I want you to stay close to your chair, and we're going to put our legs up on the chair. And you're thinking, what in the world, right? So I want it to be a 90-degree bend in your knee, the best that you can. Now, some of us
might have chairs that are a little taller or a little shorter, and you might need to adjust with a blanket or a pillow or a towel. So while you're kind of figuring that all out, let's work on some shoulder openers. So we're just gonna hang out here with our legs on the chair, and we're gonna do some shoulder openers. So I want you to start open with your arms like a letter T or like your Jesus on the cross. Open up to the side. And just see where your placement of your hands are. And the whole time your legs are up on that chair, I want you to really think about relaxing those hips, relaxing your back. Good. I like to just lay like this for 20, 30 minutes actually, just like this. I might change my arm position some, but this is really good for resetting your back. Gravity is resetting your back. It's really a nice exercise. Good. So I want you to take your hands and try to keep your hands on the floor. Bring your arms into a cactus pose. Now for some of us, that is an absolute no-go, right? You're lifting and your hands are hanging here because you're really tight in the chest. So if you have a block or a book or something handy, you could put it underneath those hands. Or you could come back to that T position where it was a little bit more comfortable. Now for some of us, even in a T position, we can really feel that stretch, right? And for some of us not, we need to come into the cactus pose. So you decide who you are. I don't want you hanging in space. So if your hands are way up here and you are trying to hold your breath because you're in agony, bring those arms out again, okay? Only put them here if you know you can do it comfortably. Now think about your hips. Are you relaxing through the hips? Are you starting to feel that adjustment, just that little bit that gravity does for us? Good. Softening through those shoulders, breathing. Good. All right, so the next hand position, I want you to take your arms and put them up overhead. And see if you can get your hands on the floor. If you can't, if it's painful, I want you to go back to that T position or to a position where you're more open in the shoulder and your hands are on the floor. So if it's not directly overhead, I want you to open it up until your arms are on the floor the best that you can. Nothing is hanging in space. Your hands are on the floor, your shoulders are on the floor, and you adjust that how you need to. Good. Holding here, feeling that chest opener. This is a chest opening stretch. For some of us, it's really difficult. It looks like it's easy and simple for me, but I do this a lot. I actually do this at home. It's part of my at-home practice. So it's a good shoulder opener, and it helps us with our posture. This is a wonderful posture exercise. It seems so simple, right? It's just a gravity-based exercise. Pretty cool. And breathe. Good. How do those hips feel? Are you relaxing through those hips? I bet you after the chair piriformis stretch, your hips are so glad to not be doing that, right? I know. All right. Let's take those hands, we're going to bring them over. So we could do a piriformis stretch right here, right? We're already kind of in that position, so we could cross over sciatic nerve stretch right here, slide that foot up on that chair, holding that leg in, and guess what? You can let that leg rest on the chair. So you get a little bit deeper stretch because you can really focus on pulling here and not worrying where that foot is. Now take those hips so that they're back over your knee, or take those knees, excuse me, so they're back over your hips. You're going to bring those arms in a T position, palms are up or down, you choose. I want you to lift that heel off the floor, and you're just going to let those hips fall to the side. Sorry, I've got to do that. Just let those hips fall to the side, letting yourself roll. So we came off the chair. We came off the chair and we just rolled over to the side. Now I notice that my chest is still up towards the ceiling. I'm just getting a nice spinal twist here.
Breathing deep breaths. All right, and then let's lift those legs up, putting those legs back on the chair. Taking that leg over for that piriformis stretch, sliding that heel, but letting it sit on the chair so I can use it as support. Good, so even if you were doing this with a couch, I think that you could make it work, right? You could scoot back a little bit and make this work. Nice deep breaths here. Flex that top foot, it's going to make that stretch a little deeper. Good. Now we're going to take that foot off the chair and let yourself roll to that side so that the foot goes on the floor. It's a nice spinal twist. Breathing those nice big deep breaths. And then let's bring it all the way back up, getting that foot back on the floor. Now before we go to Shavasana, we're going to do our Shavasana with our legs on the chair, but I want you to take those legs and push them up towards the sky and push the chair just enough so that you can kind of lean on that little bit so that we can focus on pushing the heels up into the ceiling, or up towards the ceiling, and pushing your hips down into the floor. So I'm elongating through here. Try not to lock those knees out. Protect your knees at every step of the way, right? But so we're pushing those hips down and lifting those heels just that little bit, getting that deep stretch. Holding here. Here's our inversion for today. And actually, even with our legs on the chair, that's an inversion as well. So we're bringing blood down into the core of the body when we lift those legs there. So just holding, building some strength right here. Let's point and flex those feet. We're still leaning maybe a little bit on that chair, but not pushing it over. Good. All right, now bend those knees. 90-degree bend, so I'm actually a little bit less than 90, so I'm going to come back a little bit. And let's get ready for Shavasana right here with our legs on the chair. And you choose your arms. So if you kind of enjoyed having those arms up here because it felt good and it felt like a good stretch, we could do that. Or if you don't want to bother with that at all, we could be arms on the sides. So you choose. I'm going to stay up here. This is such a good stretch right here, and I can relax here just that little bit. Closing our eyes, feeling those muscles just relax and reset. Letting those hips loose. Give them a shake and a wiggle if that helps. Letting the belly loose. Don't clench anything. Don't hold anything tight. So the bottom should be a grape, not a raisin. If you're clenching your teeth, let that jaw go. Put your tongue in between your teeth a little bit. And just let's take this last minute and just listen to the sounds around us. Relaxing that body.